Hi, everyone. Hello. Hello. Welcome to the Quest Show. I am so sorry that I am late. I just saw the superseding indictment, and I was trying to be able to read up on it so I could have some juicy information like directly from it instead of what I'm gaining from the different news sources. But it's 60 pages. It's very long, so I did not have a chance to read through all of that. So maybe if you join me on Tuesday on the Black and White Show, Brian and I will have an opportunity to go through the superseding indictment. So again, welcome everyone to the Quest Show. I am glad that you have made it. I am Lana Quest. Before we get started, I do want to once again thank you to all of my, I'm just setting out while I'm talking. Thank you to all of my new subscribers. I do appreciate you. Subscriptions are up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please like this video, share it with your family, your mom and your pa, and all the people. I'd appreciate it. How are you guys doing? It's really hot. If you notice, my forehead is just it's melting. I'm literally melting right now. But we are going to get into it. Have you guys been like just all day long waiting for the indictment? Like just on Indictment Watch? Just all day, just kind of anxious about it, like, oh God, because we know it's coming. We just don't know when it's coming. So it's just been an anxious actually week. We do know that the grand jury met for 7 hours today. We also have heard that Trump attorneys met with Jack Smith, which really wasn't confirmed, but Jack Smith's people, the prosecution. So, what happens prior to an indictment and after the target letter? Yeah, you get a chance to go in and plead your case. This couldn't have been the first time that they've gone in to plead Trump's case because it's just too far down the line. He's already had that target letter for a while. But if that's the case, they went in today to plead the case to try to get the prosecution to drop the case. Well, yeah, that's not going to happen. They've already spent a lot of money. There's a lot of evidence. And you know what? We're not letting you skate through this time, Donald Trump. So you are going to face something. We are just waiting. So that happened. Hopefully that indictment comes tomorrow. That would be great. I don't really want to wait until Tuesday. If they were there until 7 o'clock today, hopefully they already made a vote on this thing and they're just gonna do it tomorrow, file everything tomorrow. They didn't do it today. Fingers crossed. Let's hope because I just don't want to wait until next Tuesday. But then if we wait until next Tuesday, then it's probably going to be like an indictment bonanza because then we're going to have Fonnie Willis, pulling up with another indictment because she said she had the judges. Remember, Fonnie Willis, the DA out of Georgia, has said that she was going to have an imminent decision. She has already told the judges in Fulton County to clear their calendars for the first 2 weeks of August. On today, there were barriers put outside of the Fulton County courthouse. Did you guys hear that? Yeah, barriers are put out. So they're actually preparing for some action right now. Also, hold on, let me just make sure that this doesn't come on. Yeah, also, so not only are the barriers being put up in Georgia or Fulton County, they were saying that security has beefed up in DC. So there's two indictments coming down the pipe. Donald Trump ketchup must be going all over the place because he must be going crazy. Like, just imagine if we're anxious, right? And we get anxious about just the regular, normal things going on. Imagine pending indictments. Like, he tries to act. Well, he's not doing a good job acting because you can see it. Like you can see the literal weight on him, but you also can see the weight of all of his criming. Like you can see that weight on him. He knows like the only thing that this man has got right now is to become president. That's all he has. He doesn't have any defense. Like there's just, and he knows it. He didn't say he didn't take well, he did say at first he didn't take anything. He said he could. And then he's like, he had a right to. They're his. Like he admitted to having the top secret documents. So he's not even saying that he didn't have it. There's no defense, right? We saw them in his bathroom. J6, he's not really denying any of those things happened. I mean, he's making songs with insurrectionists. You just don't hear the denials. You just really don't, because he doesn't have any. And how can you like say that wasn't me when you're on tape asking somebody to find votes? Like you, that wasn't my voice. Was it AI? Like your voice was you were you cloned or clown? Were you cloned? It wasn't you. He doesn't even have that defense. So the only thing that he has is to become president. And boy, oh boy, are they going to do everything in their power to cheat. Like it's going to be insane. They have absolutely nothing. And it's so funny. I kind of pay attention on Twitter, and like, we know how they try to fundraise off of the stupid tweets and things. And they'll just say like, Biden crime family, Biden and the crime family, or Biden has dementia. This is what the Insurrection Congress talks about. They're not getting as many likes and retweets as they used to get, because I think people are just kind of like, enough already. Like, seriously, enough already. But anyway, back to Donald Trump. So, no, back to Donald Trump and the superseding indictment. Let's talk about what happened with that. So, instead of a new indictment relative to J6, no, relative to so many, I'm getting confused. So, instead of the J6 indictment that we're all on pins and needles waiting for, there was a superseding indictment to the previous indictment relative to the documents that he was hiding out in his bathroom at Mar-a-Lago. Superseding indictment. That means that some things were added. It's almost like a supplemental indictment. It's like, hey, this supersedes the one I just did. Here's another one, right? So this indictment, still about the documents, right? Because it's a superseding indictment of the previous one. I know it sounds confusing, but just follow along. And it adds another count to the indictment. And in this count, it says that Trump willfully, it's the willful retention of national defense information. And that was Donald Trump. So that's one of his counts. And we know that he did, because he willfully retained them. Like he knew that he had them, wouldn't give them up. He just kept them. They're mine. And I'm going to show anybody I want to show because I can. So that was added to it. Also, there's another defendant. So not only is there Donald Trump named in it, not only is there, what is that other guy's name? Walt Nada, who's his personal, like, I don't know, not handyman, but I don't know, personal chauffeur, personal, go get me Wendy's, personal, I need a Coke that kind of guy. So he's been named in it. He was already named in it, but there's a third person, there's a third defendant named in this superseding indictment, and that would be Carlos de Oliveira. I believe they said Carlos. Is he the maintenance guy? I don't know, but these are like just the low level guys that Trump gave the time of day, right? And got them to do all of his dirty work. Like they were probably so enamored to be around this guy because he builds himself up like he's somebody, and they're in Mar-a-Lago, the tacky mansion that probably hasn't been updated since the 70s. They're just happy to be there. So they'll do anything for this man, obviously. So in this next count that lists all three of them, Donald Trump, Walt Nada, and Carlos de Oliveira. They all are accused of obstruction accounts, trying to delete surveillance. Yeah. Where are the tapes? Where are the tapes, Trump? Where are the tapes? He tried to delete them. Where are the tapes? They have one of these guys, Walt R. or Carlos, I'm not sure which one, saying the boss wants the server deleted. Server deleted, huh? Y'all remember the whole Hillary incident? Are y'all old enough to remember Hillary? Y'all know who Hillary is? Right. Remember, lock her up. Oh, lock her up. Remember all of that? Right? Remember Trump saying, oh, Hillary tried to get rid of her server. Oh, she was trying to pour bleach on it. Blah, blah. Boogeyman on purpose. What is she hiding? The boss wants the server deleted. When who the boss is at Mar-a-Lago? Who's the boss at Mar-a-Lago? Ain't Don Jr. It's not Ivanka. It sure ain't Melania. Sounds like Donald Trump wanted the server deleted. Everything that Republicans do and say is projection. They live on deflection and projection. And they are perfecting the projection. It's quite unbelievable. So like everything that they say, they're doing it. Everything that they accuse anyone else of, the Democrats of, that it's what they're doing. They just want to, put smoke and mirrors up so you don't see them doing it and blame the other side for doing it. It's like, a woman gets raped and you're like, you blame her for it. Well, what did you? Yeah, that's what they do. They did it. They did it. So that's what happened today in the indictment world. Hopefully we get that tomorrow. Now, see, no one's in the chat tonight. And actually tonight I have quotes. So I will say my quotes. What else happened this week? Oh, we can't forget little Rudy. Little Rudy. So Rudy, remember Rudy? Rudy was going around saying that Shay Moss and Lady Ruby, the two election workers out of Georgia, were passing around a USB port like vials of heroin. This is what Rudy Giuliani said about these women. And then Donald Trump said that like they were ballot hustlers. They were saying that they saw them, Rudy and Trump saw them like, putting ballots in a truck, just all the nonsense, right? Just lying on these women. And what happens to these women? They have crazy MAGAs coming to their house talking about, we're going to do a citizen's arrest. Where's your mother? We're trying to get into her home. These women were terrified. She had them leaving messages saying, you better be thankful that this is 2020 and 1920. That's a threat. We all knew what happened to Black people in 1920. It's a threat. So these women's lives were threatened, and all they wanted to do was their civic duty and be poll workers because they knew how important voting was. So they wanted to help people vote. That's it. And now, because of lies, these women had to go into hiding. If you watch their testimony, they were testifying that even if they're in the store together, they don't want to call each other's names for fear that someone would recognize who they were. So it was constant danger. So they sued Little Rudy. I'm not sure for how much, but he is being sued. Right now, he's trying to get out of the case on summary judgment. That means like he uh, wrote out this whole list of why this case should be dismissed and he should be let go on his merry way, right? He's not going to get out of this case for summary judgment. So that's why, he kind of admitted to it, but he's also saying that, yes, I said it, but these women weren't damaged by what I said. I was practicing my First Amendment right. I have free speech to say what I want, and they were not injured. How can you say they weren't injured when these women couldn't even stay in their house? They lived in fear. They were getting threatening phone calls. So Rudy, big mistake again. Someone else doing Donald Trump's bidding. I really, it's just we understand, but we don't understand because, Donald Trump didn't just pop up on the scene. Didn't y'all see what happened to Michael Cohen? Like, I'm so confused with why people continue to support this drowning ship. Like they are still jumping on and they're hanging on for dear life, and the ship is just about gone, and all Marjorie Taylor Greene, all of them are just hanging off the sides of the drowning ship saying it ain't drowning. It's not drowning. Don't believe what you see. But it is. It's just lie after lie. Rudy has admitted that he lied on these election workers. So that means there was no election fraud because he lied about. What is everyone talking about that he won when everyone is saying that they lied? It's like people just want to have a war to try to fight and win because they ain't got shit else going on in their lives. So it's just like fighting for Donald Trump is like end all be all for MAGAs. I guess I understand what the lawmakers are doing because they fundraise off of it, right? They needed supporters. They want to stay in power. They don't care if he shoots somebody on Fifth Ave. They don't care. They will support. They'll hang on to that ship until the ship is just underwater, and then they'll still be under there saying that you know everybody else is lying and Biden has dementia and all the other nonsense that they do. So that happened with Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani is also about to lose just all of his law licenses. I know in DC they've already recommended that they pull it. I think that I thought that they had already taken it. I thought he was disbarred in New York. I'm not absolutely positive. If he's not disbarred in New York, he will be disbarred in New York because he should be disbarred in New York because he is an awful person. He was an awful person when he was the mayor of New York. I don't know why people are calling him the people's mayor, maybe because of 9/11. They thought he did such a great job, but he was still a racist. Like, stop playing with me right now. So that happened this week. What time is it? 8:30. It is so hot in here. I need to get through this stuff because again, it's just really hot in here. Let's see what else. The U.S. sued Texas. So last week, the government warned Greg Abbott and the state of Texas that they were going to sue them unless the state agreed to remove the barrier in the Rio Grande near the Eagle Pass. So I guess that there are these barriers in the Rio Grande near the Eagle Pass that actually have barbed wire on them so that if the migrants try to cross over, that they will either get stuck in the barbed wire and drown, or they'll try to go further, like I think they said it was like 200 feet further down where there's no barbed wire, and try to cross there and drown because the water's deeper. And this is something that Greg Abbott did under Operation Lone Star. So this is something that he actually just did. He doesn't have authority to do that. Who are you, Governor Abbott? That's federal. That's what the federal government does. That is what the military does. Military engineers, they're the ones who put up barriers. They have to look at it for safety because what you're doing is cruel and unusual. I mean, what is it with these people? If it's not the cages, now we're like pushing them back into the Rio Grande and we can't give them water. Says a state trooper that he was ordered to not even give these people bottled water. They were pushing women, pregnant women and children back into the Rio Grande. People who want asylum. How do you get asylum? You get asylum. Oh my God, it's so hot. You get asylum by crossing over, right? Like you have to be there in order to ask for asylum. You can't be across on the other side. You can't be in the water saying, "Hey, I want asylum." You have to be able to cross over to get to asylum. What Greg Abbott is doing is not even allowing them to be able to ask for asylum. And did I mention that border crossing is down 40% since Biden put in new immigration procedures? It's down. So what are you doing, Greg Abbott? Just being cruel and unusual. Unusual punishment. Just cruel, just a ghoul. Because who does this? So um crossings, there are more deaths. They said that a pregnant woman got stuck in the barbed wire trying to cross over and had a wait, hold on, let me read it because maybe she didn't die, maybe she had a miscarriage. I think that's what happened. She got stuck in the barbed wire and had a miscarriage. It's just awful. It's awful. It's just more in the line of what these people do. I really hope we finally wake up. I hope we finally wake up because Greg Abbott should not be the governor of Texas. It should be Beto O'Rourke because Greg Abbott, he hasn't done anything. He's just like Ron DeSantis. These guys are not doing anything. They haven't done anything. It's like, it's just cruelty is the point. There's not just like the lawmakers. There's no policy and nobody cares. Nobody calls them out. I keep saying that about the media. It's like the media keeps focusing on the shenanigans that they do and never focuses on the inaction of what they're doing, like what they're not doing. Tell us what they aren't doing right now, and then tell us what Democrats are doing because we're leading up until 2024. So we really need to know what they're not doing because they're going to come back and you better believe they're going to be like, oh, inflation, immigration. They're going to start all of that all over again. You better believe it. All inflation could be down and they're still going to say it's the cost of eggs and the cost of gas. So yeah. Anyway, last thing, let's go because I am burning. It's like 90 degrees in here. No joke. Maybe that's where you guys all are. Maybe you guys are all at the beach. I hope so because my goodness, it was actually raining here. Last thing and the most important thing, it was marked by Biden by designating a monument honoring Emmett and his mom, Mamie Till, a long time coming, right? Right. There will be 3 locations for this monument. The monument will be at the Roberts Temple Church of God in Christ in Chicago, where his funeral service was held in 1955. The second location is called Mississippi Grable Landing, and they believe that's the spot where they located Emmett's body in the Tallahatchie River. The third location the monument will be is the Tallahatchie County uh, Second District Courthouse, and that's where the killers were acquitted by an all-white jury. So if you don't know the whole story of Emmett Till and why this is so important, and you should know the story of Emmett Till, Emmett Till is from Chicago, and back in the 50s, people from Mississippi they all moved to Chicago for a better way of life, right? So it wasn't uncommon for people in the city to send their kids back down south, me included, right? People in Alabama, a lot of people from Alabama came north to Massachusetts and New York. And in the summer times, sure enough, I had to go back to Alabama. Like that's how that was. So Emmett was sent to Mississippi to be with his family. His mama told him, how to behave because we have to have the talk. Black families have talks with their Black children, and especially in the 50s about how to talk with white people, right? Not so much now, but you have to learn how to talk to cops. But back then, it was like, no, sir, yes, sir. Don't really look at them in their eyes. Don't talk to the women because they were looking for an excuse. Racists were looking for an excuse to lynch you, to murder you, to brutalize you. So she had to get children too. He went to Mississippi. To fast forward the story, he was in a store. There are a number of counts of if he whistled, if he said something to this white woman. But the bottom line is the white woman said that in fact, she recanted her story and said that he didn't say anything. He didn't do anything. She recanted it. And this is matter of fact, this was a few years later she said that. So with them thinking that Emmett said something to this white woman that was a no-no, they kidnapped him out of his family's home. They took him out into the night and they brutalized him. They gouged his eyes out. They shot him in the head. They put barbed wire around his neck, put a cotton gin fan around him, and threw him in the river. And that is what happened to Emmett Till. Mamie Till, in the face of all of that, seeing her son when his body came back, she decided to have an open casket, and that kind of put fire under the civil rights movement. And we, as Biden said, we have to thank the Black journalists for getting the story out there and taking those pictures. Too bad that Mamie Till, who died not too long ago, couldn't live long enough to see this happen. Yeah. So that's it. I am melting here. So I am going to say goodnight to everyone. Again, I had my quotes and you guys aren't here. But have a good night. Thank you. And I will see you guys next Thursday. And I'm pretty sure there will be an indictment or two for us to talk about. Good night. Is somebody in the